Hello, everyone. My name is Enamul Haque, and today we are meeting for the EastWest, and we are discussing today how the life will look like in a few months after we are opening up the economy. And today with me, as usual, our guest, my friend, Philip Shah from Canada. So Phil, what's your take on how the world will look like once we get out of this COVID-19?
Well, it's been a very difficult month as far as I'm concerned since the last time we chatted. We got about 75,000 infections in Canada, and it seems like we're flattening that out to some extent. But I've often wondered if politicians and people would simply give up after a while, or is it something that we're going to have to live with? Here in Ontario, we're still locked down like we have been for 8 weeks. We're not supposed to go outside, or I guess we can go outside, but we have to, everybody needs to be staying home. That's what the government is recommending, public health people are recommending. But, it's been 8 weeks now, and everybody's concerned about the economy and how we're going to get that up and going again. And so there's going to be a gradual reopening of the economy here in Canada, gradual over time. And of course, remember, in Canada, we sit on top of the United States that has the most infections of anywhere else in the world. So our government is very nervous on how things will look. But, Canada's a big country, and we will probably have, it's easier in rural areas to reopen than it is in very urban areas. And in Canada, we have a lot of wide open spaces. In fact, in the far north in Canada, in Nunavut, we don't even have any infections. However, it's difficult. This road is difficult. It certainly has been life-changing and a world-changing event, and we'll just have to see what happens in the next few weeks.
Okay, I just want to say that, look, I know Canada is not as densely populated as Bangladesh is. So in Bangladesh, we have a similar trouble. We are at home for the last 1.5 months or more. The problem that I see now that the politicians, as you said, are not only nervous, but people are also nervous. A lot of people want to get back to their work, to their life, and that's the biggest challenge that I see that is going to come. For me, if I look carefully, we have to get ready for a new life. The life that we have seen before is not going to stay. We have to come up with new norm in our society. In terms of how we greet people, in terms of how we say hello to people. Not only that, also in terms of how we stay together in a society. What I mean, the difficulty that I see for the government of Bangladesh and for Bangladesh as such, is that we live in a land which is very densely populated. Just to give an idea, the density of population in Bangladesh, in Dhaka city, which is one of the mega cities, roughly about 150,000 people live in a square kilometer. So if you imagine 70% of those people getting out and coming to the street every day to work, that's almost in every kilometer 70,000 people. So if you think about 70 to 100,000 people coming to the street every day, the whole distance mechanism, the way we see it, does not exist. So the biggest trouble I see is how to reorganize the society so that many people do not get out of the home. One strategy that everybody has been using is obviously the home work, working from home, but that's not going to be true for many other people.
No.
So I think the way I look into it, how the challenge for everyone is to how to reduce the density in population. And probably the 3 areas I see very important to reduce, to ensure that we come to a bit somehow normal life after a month, maybe within the next month, in June, is that we have to look into the education separately, we have to look into the shopping separately, and we have to look into the transportation separately. So these 3 sectors are the difficult sectors where I can see the trouble is coming. Our schools density, if you look at the number of students, are significantly high. So the challenge to me is actually in these particular sectors. And I don't think that is something that you see in Canada.
No, we don't see that in Canada. And of course, it's getting warm here finally. We've been wearing a coat since last September, so people want to get out. So they're in our urban areas. We're not like Dhaka, Bangladesh. but there still be challenges with regard to all of those things you say with urban populations.
You have been in Dhaka, so you actually can imagine what am I talking about.
I can hardly imagine it. I can hardly imagine it. But, you know, I think we'll be wearing masks most likely. I know when I've been in Dhaka before, people wore masks, but it was because of the dust. But now they might be wearing masks because of COVID-19. I think that's going to be a very real thing here in Canada and the United States. I think we're going to greet each other differently. We're not going to shake hands. I like the South Asian head wag. I really like that. I think I could get into that with saying hello that way. And healthcare, transportation, you know, even the design of buildings will likely be different. But hopefully, it looks like we're just going to have to learn to live with this. And so that means, you know, using the strategies that public health officials suggest and try to make it work. It's going to be a difficult thing.
I think, Phil, that's what I'm also thinking. The challenge for us is the second challenge is to how do you tell this large number of people that what to do. Obviously, it is not everyone has television access, or even though they have access, not everyone can understand the whole thing perfectly. So I think the biggest challenge is to create communities. That's how I see. And communities to try to tell each other, this is how you live. And as long as people listen to it, I think we can have a better life. Otherwise, we are into a big trouble.
Until the vaccine comes, and of course, not everybody will agree. You know that, so.
Yes, until the vaccine comes. Thank you.
That's
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Nice to see you, and stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.